Hello YouTube, Dave here again. A few years ago, I purchased the Call of Cthulhu 40th Anniversary Special Edition kind of re-release. So this is a re-release of the second edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. And at that point in time, I said that this was something that I was keeping more as a collector's item than an actual, like, something I was planning on using in my game. And that hasn't really changed, but I was just on Chaosium's website there a few days ago, and out of curiosity, I was wondering if they still had any more of these in stock because this was part of a Kickstarter for their 40th anniversary celebration. They released a bunch at like some gaming conventions, and they printed more than just what they got for like the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding, whatever version I think that they used for it. But they'd stated on the website that like these were not going to be reprinted. So when they're gone, and like that's going to be it. So I bought this 1-inch box set. So this is more or less a recreation of what would have been in the original second edition Call of Cthulhu. But I was surprised to find that they still had the 2-inch box set also available, and still available. So, again, this was something from like 2021 or 2022, I think, when it went on the website. So we're, 2.5 years or so at this point removed from that. So it's kind of crazy to see that something like this is still available, especially the 2-inch one, because it always seemed like that was the one that people were doing like the most videos on. So, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to unbox the 2-inch version because there's a lot of extra things in here that I would actually use when running Call of Cthulhu. So I've got this one. I purchased this one to open. The 1-inch one is still going to remain sealed, but we will take a look at the packaging here because there are some differences. So let's take a look here at the 1-inch, and if we take a look at this top corner. It says this was the winner for Best Role-Playing Game, H.G. Wells Award, Strategist Club Award, Game Designers Guild Select Awards. So that was on the 1-inch version, which, again, I think that was likely on the second edition Call of Cthulhu box as well. But the 2-inch version doesn't have that on there at all. It has the same cover art, and it still has the same, authors there. But yeah, again, like I said, there are some differences. So, on the 2-inch box, for example, we've got our role-playing in the Lovecraftian tradition of Gothic horror. So we do have this information printed on the side of the 1-inch box as well, although it is a smaller font. Looks like there's actually a little bit of different information on here as well, maybe? No, I don't think it does. I think it has pretty much the same stuff on there. Minor differences there, but this also has the what you get. So this has the Call of Cthulhu rules book, source book for the 1920s, character silhouettes, map of selected archaeological sites, character sheets, scenarios, handouts, and more. Whereas this one doesn't have anything on that side. And the rest of the box looks very similar on the different sides there. And then on the back, we again got some minor differences. So the backing of this one is in sort of like a Cthulhu-esque green. It might not show up super well on the camera, but this has fantasy role-playing in the worlds of H.P. Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu. This one just has Call of Cthulhu with sort of like the actual border. Again, I think this is the actual like reproduction of that second edition box because it does have the second edition banner there, whereas this one is lacking that. And I don't think they've reprinted these because this still says 2021. That still says 2021. So I think these were just the differences in the boxes in the first place. And then the Eldritch Horror sections just goes into more detail about the things that are in this box set because there's a lot more in here than there was in the 1-inch set. So again, just some interesting differences right off the bat there. So the presentation is slightly different because they didn't use these 2-inch boxes back then. Like they just have the 1-inch boxes, and even their modern 7th edition starter set and their Pendragon starter set of theirs that I have is also in like this style of of box. So this looks like a pretty accurate recreation of the original second edition box set, whereas this one here is sort of an homage, but it does have a few noticeable differences. So we're, like I said, we're going to open this one up, and we're going to see exactly what is included in here. All right, get the plastic off. And I've run a few Call of Cthulhu games using like the 7th edition rules. It's a system I really enjoy, though I don't get to run it very often, and I probably wouldn't run it for more than kind of like a few shorter scenarios that are, maybe spread apart a little bit. I don't find it's the best for running like long-term campaigns. But for some one-offs or some short-term story arcs, I think this is a really, really fun system that I've been enjoying quite a bit. So here we've got the box. We'll open it up there. It's got sort of a nice, like a matte finish to it. Oh, boy. Okay. So we've got a what's in the box here, so an explanation of the parts. So it says the original Call of Cthulhu role-playing game contained 3 booklets, 1 world map, a set of identical character sheets, cardstock, character silhouettes for use in the game, and 6 dice. For the 40th anniversary of the game, we've added bonus materials to help fill the box. Plus, it's much sturdier box, so yeah, probably the cardstock quality is a lot better with this one here. Please note that we omitted a printed product catalog and the reader's response card because those probably aren't valid anymore anyway, obviously. Although I think the catalog was in the 1-inch set because I got the digital downloads for it and I kind of remember looking at that. So I think it's in the 1-inch set but not the 2-inch set. So here we've got the Call of Cthulhu rule booklet, a source book for the 1920s. We have a world map, the Arkham map, and we printed out special 40th anniversary set of 9 dice. So this is sort of like just your standard RPG dice set, so it's not tailored specifically for Call of Cthulhu, which is a percentile system, but we do get a D20, a D12, we do get the percentile dice, a D8, 3D6, and a D4. And I gotta be honest, it's been so long since I've seen like 9 dice sets for anything. Like when I was first getting into, I'm just gonna adjust the camera a little bit there. When I was first getting into role-playing games, like the 9 dice set was all we ever saw with the 3D6, the D20, and all that. And then when 3rd edition really started getting popular, then everything switched to if it wasn't the 7 die set, which is 1 of each, then it added the 4th D6 for rolling stats. And a lot of modern, even more modern sets now, particularly like the officially licensed ones, will have the 11 dice set, which will have 2 D20s. So it's just kind of interesting. In the original, or the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu starter set, I think they had like D20s and stuff like, because Sanity Lost uses different types of dice, but they had a 3rd percentile dice there for effectively like their advantage or disadvantage system. We have a size comparison sheet, the character sheets provided. We'll get your investigation started. We've got the character silhouettes, the keeper screen. Okay, this is actually all the stuff that's in the 1-inch, so maybe the product catalog wasn't in the 1-inch one. I thought I had the PDF for it. And that's all that we have there. We do have the character sheets, which generally don't look a whole lot different. I think the only thing that oh no, they got luck there. Okay, no, it looks, I mean, with Call of Cthulhu, even though they've been like multiple editions, it's kind of like iterative improvements, so it's not like it's as drastic a change as like the D&D editions are. It's kind of like why when I hear people say, like, for the Alien role-playing game, they're releasing a Kickstarter for, like, their 2nd edition, and people saying that they don't really need a 2nd edition. It's like, well, it's going to be more like this kind of system, where it's a few small improvements or modifications or changes versus, like, a complete drastic overhaul like we tend to get with like, D&D stuff. So, really cool. We got the character sheets there. There's a handful of them. Even if I were to run this version of the game, though, I would be printing off my own, because I don't like, whenever I get a box set, even if it has like blank character sheets, I never I never like to use the actual included sheets. It's just a weird collector's hiccup thing that we got there. And here we've got the Call of Cthulhu Classic Edition. So again, they're calling it Classic Edition here. This is like the based off the second edition version of the role-playing game, but it is like the 40th anniversary edition. So again, there we got the Massachusetts. And just the old black and white presentation from like these early, I think this was early 80s, early to mid 80s role-playing games. So it's just some really cool stuff. Population of the U.S. And selected foreign cities in 1920. Do we have any Canadian cities on here? Foreign cities, okay. With 600,000 plus, probably not. Maybe. Oh no, the Montreal's there. So we got Montreal. No Toronto though. That's interesting. Anyway, okay, we do have a Canadian city in there. It'd be interesting to have like a Cult of Cthulhu, like manipulating and affecting like a Montreal Canadiens game, because they were around in the 20s. The Cthulhu Mythos. Oh yeah, this is really, really cool here. The Great Cthulhu. And that's just the silhouette. So if we think about like how far there's the Great Race of Yith, Hastur the Unspeakable. So it's interesting, like, we talk about like artwork in role-playing games. Like back then we just had silhouettes for certain systems. So yeah, we've definitely come a long way in terms of the presentation there. So we've got our serpent folk there, serpent people. I actually ran one of the scenarios that I wrote for 7th edition actually involved a serpent people cult operating in a mining town. It was a lot of fun to run, actually. I enjoyed it. It seemed to go over pretty well the couple of times I ran it with the different groups that I did. And then we got our Cthulhu Mythos and Spell books. How to play the game. So yeah, we just get the rule set here. Ready to play scenario. So I don't want to spoil anything there. But again, you got just this paperback rule booklet. So that's pretty cool. And what we'll do is we'll just set this stuff face down so it'll be easier to put back in later. Then we've got the source book for the 1920s. So I do kind of want to see here. They have like a Zeppelin or a blimp on the cover, and that's pretty cool with the map there. I wonder if they have any like an ocean liner. Probably not. But it would be kind of cool to run a scenario with the player characters on, like, because I'm a bit of a ship fanatic or a ocean liner fanatic, so it'd be really cool to have them on like the RMS Olympic, for example, which was in service during the 1920s. So we got some characters, some history, bribery, company crimes, naval skills, previous experience. We got the map there of Maine, the Atlantic Ocean. So Bangor, Maine. I think that's Maine. Boston, Arkham. So we got like the eastern coast of the United States. Price and cash, new weapons for Call of Cthulhu, black market weapons. So again, just a really cool booklet there. So that was in the 1-inch set as well. But here are some things that are unique to this box set. So we've got a global campaign to save mankind, the Shadows of Yog-Sothoth. And this was, like, these are reproductions of previously released books. So I don't know if the cover art is new or not. It looks pretty like classic, so it might be the original. I don't know a lot about second edition Call of Cthulhu, but we actually have like a full campaign in here, which is really, really cool. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, But again, some really cool, just a really cool inclusion. So if you want to like actually run a full-fledged campaign, then you can use the one that's in there. We also have the Asylum and Other Tales. So this is, I think, just a collection of isolated adventures. The Mauritania. Ooh, okay, we're going to page 48. We're going to page 48. The Mauritania, in the 1920s, there was no more popular pastime among the well-to-do than travel. The magnificent liner of the day was the Mauritania, this monument to luxury. Yeah, that's awesome. This is this 45,000 tons sounds a bit high, though. I'd have to look into that. I think that sounds a little bit high, because I think that's what the Titanic and Olympic, what their displacement was. I mean, it could be. They're fairly similar size, but the Olympic and Titanic were 100 feet longer. So I think 45 might be a little bit high for that. But we got the 25 knots, turbine horsepower, crew, passengers. Yeah, that's so cool. Again, I guess I had mentioned that I am an ocean liner fanatic, so the Mauritania was a Cunard liner, which was one of the main competitors to the White Star Line until the Great Recession kind of happened, and then both companies weren't doing well, so they were merged together, and unfortunately, the White Star Line was absorbed by the Cunard, because the Cunard had more active ships in service, and it really sucks because the White Star had just retired or sold off a bunch of ships within just a couple of years of this happening. So if they would have held on to them a little bit longer, then they would have had the larger fleet, and they would still be in existence today versus the Cunard. But anyway, but that was cool to see. That got a pop out of me. And then we got the Cthulhu Companion, so Ghastly Adventures. And erudite lore. So again, a collection of scenarios. We got some rulebook additions, phobia. So there's some cool new stuff. There's Paper Chase. So that's kind of neat to see. Paper Chase is a scenario included in the 7th edition starter set. So I guess it's a reprint of this 2E era Call of Cthulhu book. And then we've got Trial of, oh my god, Sathagwa, I think. I'm pretty sure, I think that T is silent. But again, just another cool adventure. So there's all kinds of adventure scenarios included in here, which is fantastic. I love that. But we're not done yet. We've also got the Fragments of Fear, the second Cthulhu Companion. So I guess the other one there. The Cthulhu Ghastly Adventures one was the first companion. So this would have some additions to the rules, it looks like, as well. So we got Ritual Curses, Call of Cthulhu Questions. So it's got I guess some like FAQ type of stuff there, and just some new additions to the game. Again, the cover art looks really, really cool there. New creatures, animals, looks like some new scenarios included. So that's just absolutely awesome. I mean, this thing is just freaking loaded, and we're not even like done yet. So here we have the map. Honestly, we also got our comparison thing here. I'm not going to be able to completely unfold this and get it all on camera. It's just a little bit too big, but we've got the world map. And let's see here if I can at least get... There we go. I can at least get my little Nova Scotia on there. And it's nice to see that's actually drawn in. Although there's no like points of interest, even though Halifax was a pretty major port during this era in time, and was a major thing. And even during like the war, World War I, a lot of troops from Canada were left Canada to go to Europe from Halifax. So I would have liked to have seen that included, but again, maybe that's just me being a little selfish there. But again, just some really cool. It's just neat to see this stuff. Casablanca, yeah, it's just super neat. We got the Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa's not in there, even though that's our capital city, but that's okay. That's okay. Again, just really cool to see that included. And then the Arkham map is on the other side of that one. And here we've got our size comparison. And, it's just single-sided. But we've got, like, Cthulhu there. So the mighty Cthulhu. We have the Shoggoth there. A ghoul. Father Dagon compared to a human. We have the Star Spawn of Cthulhu, and then a deep one. We've got the King in Yellow, Amigo. We got, what do we have there? The Flying Polyp. Narlathotep. The Great Race of Yith. And we've got Chithagwa, I believe that's how you pronounce that. The Elder Things. Along with the Shoggoth there, were in one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft stories, Mountains of Madness. Just some really cool stuff. So we got the size comparisons, but we still got more. We still got a significant amount of stuff here. Although I think we're getting to the handouts. So I'm not going to be showing those because, again, those are kind of spoilers for the scenarios. But we have a Call of Cthulhu Keeper screen. So the front side, the player-facing side's nothing special. But the inside just have some interesting stuff here. So we've got our weapons that are available, damage bonuses, monster table, that's pretty cool, along with their sanity information. Do we have, yeah, we got Cthulhu. So if you fail your sanity roll against Cthulhu, you can lose a D100, so you have a full percentile roll. And we got the spell list, sanity results, institutional disasters. Okay. Typical sanity loss, Cthulhu Mythos, and then the books of the Mythos, all on the screen there. So again, that's really cool. And then the last thing that I'm going to actually show here, because again, we've got all kinds of like handouts and game aids and player aids and stuff. And I mean, we're talking we're talking a thick stack of handouts there. But we've got our cardboard standees that you can use. I guess, again, it's all silhouetted there. But still a cool inclusion nonetheless. Okay, I'll just put those there. And then the last thing we'll just take a quick look at here are the special dice set that's included. And I mean, it's numbered normally. It still doesn't have like any symbols or anything on it, but it's still pretty cool to see. It's not just like a basic like flat dice color or like primary color or whatever that like the 7th edition starter set just has like flat blue and green dice, I think, in it. So this one actually has like kind of like a metallic, I wouldn't call it quite a swirl pattern. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a swirl pattern, but it just has sort of like an almost ethereal kind of look to it there, which is really cool. So we'll put that back in there. But yeah, my goodness, this box is just packed full of stuff. So this all came in the one 2-inch thick box set, and it barely contains everything that's in there. Whoops, I didn't mean to bump the camera. So yeah, that was my look at the Call of Cthulhu, the 2-inch set. We'll just kind of readjust that there a little bit. So yeah, this is really, really cool. So now I have both the 1-inch and the 2-inch box sets. The 1-inch is going to remain sealed because there's nothing in here that isn't in here. So there's no reason for me to ever open this one, but I wanted to open this one because, again, I want to read through those old classic scenarios. Adventure seems like the wrong term to use for horror games, so we'll just call them scenarios. But I really want to look kind of through those, and I do want to run Call of Cthulhu again at some point in the near future. So having these like classic modules and stuff to go through, I think will sort of help with that. Although I will probably still be using the 7th edition rule set because that's the one that I'm most familiar with. Although, again, you don't have to do a lot of work to convert from this to the 7th edition, which is, I guess, one of the cool things about this particular the way that they approach alterations to the Call of Cthulhu one. So it's not like super drastic. It's not going to be like completely having to relearn an entire new system. It's just a matter of like discovering what the differences are and accounting for them. But there we go. Let me know in the comments below. Did you guys pick up the 40th anniversary Call of Cthulhu sets from Chaosium? And if you did you get the 1-inch or the 2-inch? Did you get both? Do you have one or both sealed? Let me know that in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all so very much for your time. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.